Chapter 2306, Tianhai City Integration 1. Zhang Yi and his group rested for a day in Blizzard City. The next day, Zhang Yi summoned Bai Li Changqing. Bai Li Changqing, Wu Di, and the others had now fully joined Zhang Yi's team. Their families had also been relocated to the living quarters of Zhang Yi's group. Zhang Yi didn't even bother informing Zhu Jing about this, he simply had Bai Li Changqing handle the formalities himself. This was merely a formality, everyone understood the situation, and Zhu Jing naturally posed no objection. Bai Li Changqing now possessed an ability index of 9,999 points, standing but a step away from Epsilon. After joining Zhang Yi's team and becoming an instructor for the Volt Shadow Troop, he also reaped the benefits of the Earth Centipede's origin. His loyalty to Zhang Yi had long been unwavering. Summoning Bai Li Changqing, Zhang Yi began assigning him a task. Bai Li, the crisis with the Wulwan Empire has been resolved. We can't remain in Blizzard City forever. Take some men and mechanical life forms back to begin rebuilding Tianhai City. Hearing this, a delighted smile spread across Bai Li Changqing's face. Yes. I'll handle this immediately. In Bai Li Changqing's view, Zhang Yi's current personal strength, coupled with the entire team's capabilities, was more than sufficient to establish a regional-level power. How could they possibly remain in Blizzard City forever? If not for Zhang Yi's own personal disinterest in managing affairs, Bai Li would have been the rightful supreme commander of the Jiangnan region. Zhang Yi tapped the armrest of his sofa and said to him, "This time, we should learn our lesson. We can't let them destroy our city with a tsunami like before. So, for the construction of Tianhai City this time, I have a few requirements." He held up one finger. First, regarding materials, we need to use superior ones, and every building must be fully sealed. This way, whether facing a tsunami or artillery bombardment, we maximize the survival of our residents. Housing for the core technical personnel must also be fitted with an anti-supernatural shield module. Don't worry about materials. The Wulwan Empire's looted supplies are abundant. No need to be stingy, just use whatever you need freely. Bai Li Changqing kept the recording running, capturing every word Zhang Yi spoke with crystal clarity. He even compiled a collection of Zhang Yi's speeches, listening to them every night before bed to sharpen his mind and deepen his reverence for Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi extended a second finger. Second point, the city must have an absolutely secure underground shelter beneath it. While the previous one was decent, this crisis exposed numerous flaws. For instance, there were too few entrances, and the space wasn't large enough. That meant people couldn't evacuate quickly enough when danger struck. Bai Li Changqing nodded, his expression earnest as he committed the words to memory. As for the third point, and the most crucial one, Zhang Yi interlaced his fingers, addressing Bai Li Changqing with solemn focus. I will make Tianhai City a unified whole. Hearing this, Bai Li Changqing couldn't help but ask, a unified whole? Tianhai City's population now exceeded 70,000. Given Zhang Yi's favorable treatment, ensuring they weren't crammed into cramped quarters, their living spaces were quite spacious. Beyond that, there were recreational facilities and even markets. Originally, Tianhai City's urban area centered around Tianhai Fortress, spanning a 10-kilometer radius. Transforming such a vast territory into a unified architectural complex presented immense challenges. Zhang Yi nodded. Yes. This way, should an emergency evacuation ever be necessary, I can retract the entire city into my alternate dimension. Zhang Yi revealed his plan. Having now attained the rank of Black Bishop, Zhang Yi's alternate dimension possessed a vast, wide-open gateway and an immense internal space. Encompassing an entire village-level area was entirely feasible. After pondering for a moment, Bai Li Changqing replied earnestly, I understand. Rest assured, I will complete this new Tianhai City at the fastest possible pace. While integrated construction sounded difficult, in practice it merely required more time. With the assistance of the Mechanical Legion and various mutants, building this city wouldn't demand excessive effort. Zhang Yi smiled as he asked, how long do you estimate it will take to complete? Bai Li Changqing stroked his stubble-covered chin. 2 months should be sufficient. Zhang Yi shook his head. Too long. Bai Li Changqing looked somewhat flustered. Supreme, I'm not trying to stall. But if we follow your exact requirements, the absolute fastest we can manage is 1.5 months. Zhang Yi waved his hand with a smile. You misunderstood me. I meant, who said you have to do it yourself? He gestured with his chin toward the outside. Spread the word that I plan to rebuild Tianhai City. People will be lining up to help. Bai Li Changqing's eyes lit up instantly as he grasped the plan. People from all 6 major regions were already scrambling to curry favor with Zhang Yi, they just lacked the opportunity. Once word got out, after receiving all those supplies and benefits, they'd undoubtedly rush to offer their assistance. I understand, Supreme Leader. Rest assured, within half a month at most, I'll have the new Tianhai City built. Zhang Yi nodded with a smile. Then get to work. I'll be waiting for your good news. Bai Li Changqing stepped out of Zhang Yi's resting quarters. Before he could do anything, barely out the door, a few people immediately approached him. Bai Li Changqing looked closely. Ho-hum, the high-ranking mutants from every major region were all present. The fleet captain of the Sea Dragon Guard from the East Sea region, the monk master from the Southwest region, his old friend Tu Yunlai from the Jiangnan region, the 36 heavenly spirits from the Xinjiang region, the Willow Immortal from the Northeast region, and a captain-level mutant from the Northwest region. They enthusiastically surrounded him. Why, isn't this Brother Bailey? What a coincidence! Your heroic deeds during the Battle of Wulwan Empire are forever etched in my memory. I've been dying to share a proper drink with you. Come on, come on. It's my treat today. We're not leaving until we're tipsy. Hey, do you understand the concept of first come, first served? I was here first. You go to the back of the line. Humph. This is still the Jiangnan region. I, Tu Yunlai, am Captain Bailey's closest friend. You lot, step back a bit. A crowd scrambled to offer Bai Li Changqing drinks. This scene made Bai Li Changqing understand why Zhang Yi had spoken those words. Indeed, once one possesses formidable power, everyone around becomes a friend, each eager to assist wholeheartedly. A smile touched Bai Li Changqing's lips. Since everyone's here, it's a rare gathering. Let's all have a few drinks together. Sounds great. Come on, we won't stop until we're drunk. Chapter 2307, Tianhai City Integration 2. The reconstruction of Tianhai City was entrusted to Bai Li Changqing. Zhang Yi hadn't troubled his family members, sending Lu Karen and the others to handle it, because they were all extremely busy themselves. First, everyone had gained powerful mutant origins during this battle. Some had obtained them alone, others had shared the experience, but the gains were all substantial. Absorbing and converting these potent mutant origins demanded immense time. Secondly, after conquering the Wulwan Empire, numerous affairs required careful resolution. Take Zhou Keir's work, for instance. She needed to conduct dissection studies on the bodies of Zhenglu, Emperor Suyi, and other imperial family members. She sought to determine whether the genes of these Wulwan Empire nobles contained elements that could aid human growth. Additionally, they had to decipher the code for piloting the armor of the End. Yes, that very super mecha Emperor Suyi had intended to use for a last-ditch counterattack. Unfortunately, he lost, before he could even pilot it. Though Yang Xinqin never witnessed the End armor's power firsthand, the overwhelming force of countless undead souls' resentment and yearning radiating from it made her realize this was a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. If used properly, it could play a significant role in the future. Meanwhile, Zhou Keir needed to study the growth process of human embryos to pinpoint the exact moment when sentience emerged. Specifically, the moment when ether fragments transition from higher-dimensional space into physical world life forms. Mastering this could potentially unlock opportunities to exploit large-scale system glitches, siphoning power directly from the ether realm. Beyond Zhou Keir, others were equally occupied. Yang Xinqin was tasked with coordinating the entire territory planning for the Wulwan Empire. How to rationally divide the vast underground world into regions for the 6 major regions while reserving the most advantageous locations for herself. Moreover, how to remodel the underground world to make it suitable for human habitation. These were long-term projects, difficult to accomplish in the short term. Lou Caron was even busier. After the last major conflict, over 20,000 mechanical life forms lay damaged. These were Lou Caron's prized assets. Though victory had been secured, the losses still pained her deeply. She now led a large contingent of work-type mechanical life forms, racing to repair and upgrade them. Yes, upgrades. In the past, Zhang Yi had faced severe energy shortages. Even with yuan stones as a resource, fossil fuels were still heavily relied upon for power. Constrained by these energy limitations, the mechanical life form's full potential could never be realized. But now, having seized the resources of the Wulwan Empire, Zhang Yi held an astronomical amount of resources at his disposal. He certainly wouldn't skimp on these war machines. Lou Caron would comprehensively upgrade their energy modules, unlocking their maximum combat potential. According to Lou Caron's projections, if adequately powered, each of these 50,000 mechanical life forms could match the combat prowess of an over 9,000-point mutant. Just imagining the future sight of 50,000 captain-level mechanical life forms charging en masse filled Zhang Yi with exhilaration. Thus, he encouraged Lou Caron to focus solely on the task at hand, setting aside all other concerns. Yang Xia, Zhou Haimei, and others were tasked with assisting them, preparing delicious nutritional meals to replenish their stamina. Incidentally, Yang Xia's ability index had also reached the delta limit. Her food creations weren't merely delicious, they also functioned as military-grade stimulants. Not only did they keep people alert and productive, they came with 0 side effects. They were practically a divine tool for the troops. If anyone was idle, it was Fatty Su and Li Yangyan. But Zhang Yi didn't expect much help from the chubby one in critical matters anyway. He and Uncle Yu handled Tianhai City's daily operations and minor tasks. For the next period, Huashu Kingdom basked in peace and prosperity, free from warfare. Zhang Yi distributed a portion of the vast resources from the alternate dimension to the major districts as agreed. Though these supplies represented only a fraction of his holdings, the 6 major regions had no choice but to dispatch massive ice-specialized trains and large F-37 transport aircraft, making trip after trip to haul them away. For days on end, Blizzard City saw unceasing traffic, and the airport operated around the clock. It took a full fortnight to transport all these materials back. And what was Zhang Yi doing? He had entered seclusion. Deep within the lowest basement level of Tianhai Fortress. He had locked himself away in the vast subterranean chamber. Now, at last, he had time to step back from the state of war. Only after the battle did he realize his body had been trembling all along, continuing for several days. Not from fear, but from overwhelming excitement. He had defeated a night-level powerhouse in direct combat. And during his clash with Jinglu, he truly grasped the terrifying potential of a mutant who inherited ancient civilizational memories and wielded high-level supernatural abilities. Their combat methods were unlike anything he'd seen. Their mastery over supernatural powers far surpassed Zhang Yi's comprehension. Zhang Yi harbored no doubt whatsoever, had he and Jinglu been on equal footing in terms of supernatural power, had he lacked Ling's human vessel and the demon god armor, escape would have been his only option. This battle yielded profound lessons. Later, he repeatedly reviewed the footage recorded by the demon god armor's intelligence system during the fight, studying Jinglu's combat posture, the timing of his strikes, and his mastery over his supernatural abilities. The vast underground space remained unlit. The thousands of square meters of the sports field lay in complete darkness, save for Zhang Yi, seated cross-legged in the open area. Above him, the light cast a circular pool of illumination. Before him, the projection spanned hundreds of inches. Every movement of Jinglu, every exertion of his muscles, was crystal clear. Zhang Yi held profound respect for this formidable opponent. His eyes fixed on Jinglu's shadow while the divine refinement coiled around his right hand began to shift slowly. Dark void energy surged from his body, greedily absorbed by the divine refinement. This semi-mechanical weapon, forged from Bowser's sword in the tree, possessed the ability to shift into any form. Clank. In the video, Xinglu's boundary chains erupted like a storm, instantly obscuring the sky. In reality, the sound of chains clanking echoed beside Zhang Yi's hand. Clank. Jet black chains extended from divine refinement, coiling around his arms and creeping up his fingers. Twisting, wrapping, spiraling, hardening into razor-sharp spikes, they shifted and transformed into 1,000 different forms, responding to his will. Xinglu, your chains are mine now. An inexplicable inspiration struck Zhang Yi's heart. He raised his right hand, watching the chains flow like water across his palm, a smile curling his lips. Chapter 2308, Tianhai City Integration 3. From preparation to conclusion, the Huashu Kingdom's victory over the Wulwan Empire spanned a fleeting half-year. The entire world had been watching Huashu Kingdom's movements, yet all they witnessed were the kingdom's rigorous military drills. They saw nothing of the massive offensive launched from the East Sea. Even the battle that concluded that night unfolded in utter secrecy. Thus, no one knew what had transpired within Huashu Kingdom. Many nations concluded that Huashu Kingdom, ultimately far weaker than the Wulwan Empire, had chosen to yield. The world's course never bends to individual will. While Huashu Kingdom steeled its forces, remarkable tales unfolded across every corner of the realm. Shortly after Zhang Yi and his companions returned, Britannia, that once unconquered empire of Eastern Europe, also welcomed back its returning heroes. Led personally by King Arthur, the entire Knights of the Round Table embarked on their third expedition to the Atlantis ruins beneath the deep sea. This time, their return seemed more battered than any previous expedition. Beyond the 12 Knights of the Round Table, their leader Arthur Pendragon, and the chief magician Merlin, over half of their mutant warriors had fallen in battle. Even King Arthur bore a broken arm, his armor torn and shattered. Yet upon their return, there was no trace of despondency or defeat. Instead, each face bore the mark of pride. For this expedition had seen them successfully penetrate the third layer of the ruins. Moreover, this was the first time they had engaged in combat with the colossal creatures dwelling in the depths beneath Atlantis. A bishop-level colossal sea serpent. They pulled the entire might of the Knights of the Round Table and ultimately drove it back. Though they failed to slay it, this feat alone was enough to fill them with pride. King Arthur returned to his palace and seated himself upon the throne with its crimson velvet back. Upon his return, Merlin immediately ordered the medical department to dispatch their finest mutants to repair his severed arm. Though the Knights of the Round Table included pure Knight Gawain, the casualties from that battle were staggering. She had single-handedly preserved the entire order, nearly exhausting all her reserves. After all, the deep-sea operation had lasted 3 months. Their supplies were limited, and once they ran out, retreat was the only option. Soon, medical teams arrived to examine each of them. When the breastplate of the rebel knight, Mordred, was opened, the medical-type mutant present couldn't help but gasp. Deep within his chest was embedded a long, sharp claw. The claw was clamped by Mordred's muscles, causing only a trickle of blood. But pulling it out would undoubtedly cause a torrent of blood to spurt out. Quickly! Quickly! First use your abilities to seal the blood vessels around the wound. Then remove the foreign object. Mordred's face was deathly pale as he sat in the chair, allowing them to work. Even wounded, King Arthur sat upon his throne with an air of serene detachment, a regal smile playing on his lips. Beside him stood a middle-aged man in an elegant suit, his hair meticulously combed. He stood with his hands behind his back, a gentlemanly smile on his face as he looked down at King Arthur. This was his uncle, Sebastian Levant, Minister of the Interior of Britannia, now one of the most powerful figures in Britannia's upper echelons. "Arthur, how's your body holding up?" Sebastian inquired with a smile, his icy blue eyes holding a trace of concern, though his expression remained somewhat distant. "I'm fine, and I'll be even better." King Arthur replied with a smile, allowing the nurses to administer various medications. Meanwhile, his severed arm slowly regenerated under the treatment of a high-level medical mutant. "Pfft, fresh flesh erupted from the stump, bursting directly from the original wound. The scene looked exceptionally bloody. Anyone with a weak stomach would likely faint on the spot. Yet King Arthur's face showed no extra emotion. For years of warfare, which battle hadn't left him wounded? He had developed a formidable tolerance for pain. Yet flesh regeneration was no simple matter. This viscerally bloody ritual would last at least 10 minutes. A flicker of surprise crossed Sebastian's eyes. "Your power has grown significantly again?" King Arthur smiled. "Uncle Sebastian, what's been happening outside during my absence these past months?" King Arthur turned to face Sebastian and pressed further. "Any developments from Huashu Kingdom?" Having once been defeated by Zhang Yi, Arthur kept a close watch on the young man's movements. Sebastian stood with his hands behind his back, his tone measured and unhurried. "Little has changed in Huashu. For nearly 5 months, the Wulwan Empire has relentlessly harassed them. Yet Huashu's counterattacks have been scarce. There was only one instance where Chaos sent back a few corpses of the Wulwan Empire's silver armor generals. Only after that did the tense situation finally calm down. And up until today, no new conflicts have erupted." King Arthur leaned his head against the throne and suddenly sighed deeply. "So that means Chaos has been idle for a full half-year." This regret seemed genuine, as if he truly felt pity for Zhang Yi. There are only 2 ways for a mutant to enhance their power. First, turn inward and tap into latent potential, though this method has its limits. Second, relentlessly hunt and slay powerful ability users, seizing their origin. Once combat ceases, once plunder stops, power stagnates, no matter how extraordinary the talent. Sebastian regarded him. "And what of you?" "Me?" King Arthur laughed casually, propping his cheek with his sole remaining hand as he remarked indifferently, "I'm already at 42,000 points, a Black Bishop-level tier mutant." Over the past 6 months, Zhang Yi had endured the Demon's Eyes campaigns and launched war against the Wulwan Empire. King Arthur hadn't idled either. Atlantis and the vast seas surrounding Euro had become his hunting grounds. As a top-tier prodigy, he too had steadily elevated his power. "If we meet again, he likely wouldn't stand a chance against me." A thought crossed King Arthur's mind. Should he go find Zhang Yi for another fight to avenge his defeat? But he quickly shook his head. His kingdom faces immense threats now. I shouldn't take advantage of his vulnerability. Besides, his gear far surpasses yours. That remains a problem. Sebastian cut straight to the heart of the matter. A corner of King Arthur's mouth lifted. "Uncle Sebastian." If it's just about equipment, my trip to Atlantis wasn't entirely fruitless, you know."